So This Is Love by For a Curious Dad, Honey 03. Episode 44, Chapter 17, Hideout Raids Aftermath. Of course, Todoroki didn't want to talk about the kiss. That's why he ignored it from the beginning. He has more important things to worry about. His brother, who he thought had died, suddenly comes back dancing and poking around in front of him and becoming a villain? Hell! Anyone would be surprised and confused over that. Especially Todoroki, since his asshole father is a well-known and prideful hero. Will he stand still with his son being a villain? Nuh-uh. I know. Asking Todoroki to pay attention to me with our first kiss is selfish. But can't I be selfish? Can't I want him to notice me more? Is that too much to ask? Isn't it simply what we are? Craving for attention and care from people we love. Doesn't that mean I love him? Only because I love him that I'm pouring and upset because he didn't think about our first kiss. Wait. Sero lifted himself up in the bed, ignoring the pain from his cast. Does Todoroki even think about us? Does he see me as someone who is pursuing him? Does he see me as a love interest? Or am I just a friend? And all the action was crossing the line and him being merciful and pitiful to put up with me? Sero suddenly felt hard to breathe. After all this time, he was alone in this relationship. Yes, he was a one-sided love, but he was in an illusion, assuming Todoroki also liked him in some level, seeing how he tolerated his flirting actions and words time after time. He was hopeful that there would be a day when Todoroki felt the same as he did, too. What if he just didn't want to lose a friend, so he had put up with everything I've done? What if now he had more friends, he realized that the boundary, and decided to stop knowing me? Had Todoroki ever shown interest or disgust about what I've done? Had he ever shown anything to me? Or say? Well, he cares about me, as his friend, his best ally. Nothing more. Nothing less. Sero admitted. He did sometimes use the fact that Todoroki was oblivious about romance to flirt with him in plain sight, but he swore he used it in pure intentions of making Todoroki interested in him as a lover, not to become a pervert like this. By the time Sero continued to torture himself with all the kind of negative thoughts, he learned that Todoroki, together with Kirishima, Yaoyorozu, Midoriya, and Tenya, had gone to save Bakugo. He wasn't there to stop them, to stop Todoroki. He felt angry and impatient, worried about their safety. Sero and Todoroki met again right after Bakugo's rescue operation was done. Sero dragged his cast to the hospital room where Todoroki, together with the others, waited for their final revision. Todoroki, can we talk? Sero asked right when he entered the room. Sure. Okay, follow me. Sero was so occupied with anger that he avoided looking at Todoroki, missing his eyes brightening up to see Sero calling him. Todoroki nodded to the others, then followed Sero to the end of the hall. What have you been thinking? Sero turned around, and for the first time since they knew each other, he let out his anger in front of Todoroki. What? What have you been thinking? Jumping straight into a villain's lair, playing hero even though you literally are just a high schooler boy? Hell, Todoroki! You are learning to be a hero! You are not one! Todoroki was stunned. He believed he did the right thing, joining the gang to rescue Bakugo. It was part of his responsibility too, because he was not fast enough and strong enough to save both Bakugo and Sero, because his brother was one of the people who kidnapped him. He knew it was a suicide and impulsive mission, but that responsibility whispered to him, not letting him alone until he walked out of that hospital that day. He didn't need anyone's permission, nor their compliment, but he hoped that they would receive one from Sero. He sounded surprised, and yet became the most natural and normal thing to Todoroki. However, they were not quiet like what Todoroki imagined. Instead, Sero was angry at him. You could have been killed. You could have been captured or tortured instead. Why can't you leave that to the professional heroes? Isn't that their job? Right now, you're just a high schooler. You survived some attacks in the street and thought you were good enough to beat a villain? No! You know nothing. You just follow what you think is right. You know nothing about others who worry about you. What about your sister? What about your mother? What about me? Have you ever thought about me? About us? Yes, of course. Sero, please calm down. I'm sorry. I had to do it. Bakugo was kidnapped because I wasn't fast enough. You got hurt because I wasn't strong enough. And Dobby, he was part of it. Of course you're not! Because we're students. None of us were ready to face them. Sero waved his cast in front of Todoroki as proof. We have teachers, adult heroes to worry about instead of you. You're not hero, Todoroki. Stop, Sero, stop. You're not Endeavor. The last sentence threw the hall into a dead silence. Todoroki looked at Sero with disbelief, anger, and upset filling his eyes. What? Sero gasped. He tried to take words out of his mouth, but nothing came out. Leave the old man out of this. And yes, I'm not my father. You make sure I remember that, even now. Todoroki's lips trembled. He used to feel relieved and felt great when being told that. But now, there was something petty and hurtful hidden behind those words. I know. I am fully aware, Sero. But I couldn't stand still. None of us could. I did it anyways, even though I did think about my family. And you. I thought about you a lot. As much as I thought about my family. But you acted like you were alone in this mess. Like you had to face Dobby and everything by yourself. What about me, Todoroki? Am I just a perverted guy lurking around you, wanting to get some piece of your ass? Am I not capable enough of you trusting me? Or at least talk to me? A pervert? What do you mean? I don't think about you at all. Todoroki stopped. Sero wished he could continue it. Whatever word that defined their relationship. Better than being something than nothing. And what? My friend. Todoroki's voice broke with a word. Friend. Not really, but I understand. Todoroki, you don't have to say more. Sero sighed, rubbing his temple. He then raised his head, sending Todoroki a faint smile. Take a rest. Going now. He passed by Todoroki, letting him no chance to stop him and reunite with Kirishima, who was looking for both of them. What the fuck? Okay, it was bad enough last chapter. What is this? What the fuck? What? You're crying. Okay. I'm breathing. Everybody, let's breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Out. 1, 2, 3, 4. What's next? Okay. Wow. They just fought. This is classic, miscommunication. I get emotions are high, words were said that were... This is why I'm always in the belief that whenever things are getting heated, I don't care if it's a friend of mine or whatever, I always separate myself from the situation. I think I've had a lot of arguments with friends and stuff like that, but for the most part, I've always been good at separating myself. There's only been 3 times that I could recall that, I had a big fight with someone and I said words that I, regretted later down the road. Heated arguments, heated words. The first one was with my abuser. I mainly regretted that one because I got really, really, really hurt after that. We had the argument through a call, but clearly didn't forget about the argument when we met up in person again during school, and, yeah. That was a really interesting bruise to have to explain to people. But, I'm saying, it was a really interesting bruise. I don't know how the fuck she did that bruise with her hand. I'm laughing now because it's past me, but whatever. And then, the last two that I could recall was with, my ex, right? The first one that we had, we were dating, and then the second one we were, like, in our breakup kind of thing. I was really mad at them the first time we had, like, a really big argument like that, and I ended up yelling at them, and I said some things that I regret. You know, I said shit like, you don't care about me, you're, I think I ended up saying you're using your, lack of social awareness as, like, a fucking shield or something, right? And I said, I was screaming at them, because I'm like, what the fuck is this? What is this? What are you doing? Like, you're hurting my feelings. It feels as though you're not caring. Like, you are literally hurting my feelings, right? And they're like, I don't know how to comfort people. And I'm like, see, you're using that as an excuse, and I do not like that, right? And I yelled at them. Right? And I ended up saying some really nasty stuff that I regretted, right? I said that they were a selfish person who did not care about me, that they were just using me to feel loved, that they didn't actually genuinely had feelings for me, and that they were just stringing me along. I don't know how much that was true or not, if I'm being honest, because I don't talk with this person anymore because they abandoned me a year ago. Yeah, they told me they didn't want to be my friend anymore because I no longer was as attentive. So I stopped replying to them daily, you know, talking to them daily, and we started talking less because I was the one holding our friendship together, and because I stopped trying more, and I, you know, put the brakes and started putting boundaries, all of a sudden I'm the horrible one. Anyways, moving on. The second time we had, like, a really big argument with that person, I said some horrible stuff as well, except I don't really regret this one. No, they were actually an asshole, and I said it to their face. But I definitely hurted their feelings, and that was not a real way of communicating. But I'm really good at pulling back. There was multiple times where I could have said really harmful stuff to people, but I didn't. But a lot of the times you can't get a hold of yourself. Heated arguments, you say stuff you don't mean. You say stuff that you regret, like you're not Endeavor, or you are heated. You're not thinking critically of what's actually going on. For the most part, I never want to get into a heated argument. I'm not saying that I'm never going to get into a heated argument ever again with any of my friends. Of course it's going to happen. We're human. It happens. Disagreements happen. Arguments happen, right? Obviously, there's going to be a time where me and my, you know, partner at, you know, who I have right now, that I'm dating right now, are going to get into an argument. It's an inevitable, whatever it is. But obviously, we talked about this before we got together, about how we deal with anger and heated arguments like that, and we both agree that we need to step back. And hopefully we'll be good at stepping back. And if we don't step back, hopefully we'll be able to work through it. I think we will be able to. But it happens. It happens. We have to be prepared. Arguing with people like that, it's gonna happen. I used to think, like, specifically with that one ex that I argued twice, that I said really horrible stuff to, I used to think that we would never get into arguments. Yeah, that's bullcrap. But shit happens, things happen. For the most part, when you're in that type of heated argument, adrenaline is pumping through your body. You're not stopping and thinking if the thing you're about to say is gonna hurt the other person. You're hurt, and you're letting that hurt lead your emotion, which is why in heated arguments or in heated, you know, moments, I step back. Because I'm like, you know what? I'm heated. I'm not thinking. And I need to sit down and think, what is actually the problem? Because we're not going to solve it by screaming at each other or by literally just, you know, yelling at each other or anything like that. It's best to walk away and think, what is hurting me? What is it that I don't like? What is it that I want my significant other or friend to do to help? What is it that I can do? Am I in the wrong? Or are they in the wrong? Is it nobody's in the wrong and it's just a miscommunication? Is it you're both in the wrong and we need to fix it? What is the problem. Because I'm not going to find the problem or the solution if I'm just screaming at the person. That is not going to solve anything. I step back and stuff like that. I have really good self-control with that. As I mentioned before, there's only 3 times where this has happened. And all 3 times, I'm going to be honest with you, the first one, it was literally, is my abuser, passing over somebody else's boundary whom I cared deeply, and I was not going to let that slide. The second time, it was really heated. It was a lot of little things that added up together to that big thing, and we ended up screaming at each other. The third one, they were actually being an asshole, and as I said, I do not absolutely regret what I said. I regret the way I said it, but I do not regret saying it, right? I do not regret calling them an asshole who didn't care about me, because they were, one, an asshole who didn't care about me. I do regret saying it in that fashion. A better way of saying it would be, hey, you are making me feel as though you do not care about me, and it's making me feel like shit. Indirect way of saying you're an asshole and you don't care about me. But obviously, I don't regret saying they're an asshole and that they don't care about me. I just regret the way I phrased it and the way I said it. Obviously, there's a better way of saying it, because just saying you're an asshole who doesn't care about me is not going to fix the problem. It's just going to make the other person aggravated, and it's going to make the other person defensive, and that is not going to solve the problem. A better way of, finding that is being like, hey, you are making me feel like shit. This, and this is making me feel as though you do not care about me. It's making me feel horrible. Why? I need an explanation. We need to fix something, because I do not feel okay with what you're doing. And that would be a better way. It would open up the conversation. It would not automatically put the person in self-defense mode and start screaming at you back. It will make the person think, shit, I am doing this, and this. I didn't know that I was hurting your feelings. I'm sorry. And an actual person who actually gives a shit, who would have known what that person would have done? Because all those stuff that I told them, I already told them beforehand in the past, and apparently that did not matter. So, who am I? No, let's be honest. Do I really regret saying that they're an asshole who didn't care about me? No, I don't. As I said, I regret how I said it, but, they were an asshole who did not seem to care about me. At all. We're not friends anymore. We aren't. We haven't been friends for a year, and it hurts, because they were a really close friend of mine. They were my best friend. They were, at one point, my, significant other, and it's complicated, but they were my friend. They were someone who was there for me throughout a lot of things, including throughout my abusive friendship. They were the person who opened up my eyes, who helped me cut someone so horrible off of my life, and whom I was ready to, be alone with. Because, obviously cutting off an abuser, there's multiple risks. The abuser can, the manipulator can lash back. The manipulator can, a lot of things can go wrong. And in this case, the biggest issue was I was going to lose everybody. I was going to lose pretty much everybody except my online friends, which I only had 3 of, right? I was going to lose, everybody at school. I was going to lose most of my friend group, because obviously they're going to believe the person you've known more and longer. I was going to lose everyone. I was going to lose everyone. I was going to lose everyone but that one person. And obviously my online friends, and then my one childhood best friend. But going from having a lot of friends to having none, it's steep, and I was worried. And I cut them out of my life. Luckily, I didn't lose that many friends. There's still some people who didn't believe me and called me an attention seeker, and that I didn't have any proof. And without any proof, then did they really do it? Obviously, that sucks, because obviously I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, they hit me and they bruised. Let me take a picture. That's not going to happen. But heated arguments happen a lot. Heated arguments, miscommunication. This is how a bunch of friendships, a bunch of relationships fall and crumble. Obviously, my friendship and relationship with that certain individual who was there for me throughout the hardest, difficult parts of my life crumbled and fell because lack of communication, lack of a bunch of stuff, lack of commitment on their end, lack of communication on their end, a little bit of lack of communication on my end, and just a lot of miscommunication between both of us that ended up having the relationship and friendship crumble and fall apart. Right? I've had multiple friendships get torn apart because of lack of communication, lack of stuff, lack of awareness, lack of, a bunch of stuff. It's trouble, and I'm scared. Obviously, Todoroki and Sero are not gonna have like a fallout, but I'm scared that that's gonna happen because that's a reality, right? It's a reality that most people face. Hardships and losing a really close loved one, whether it be platonically or romantically, because of a heated argument, because of words said that you cannot take back. So whenever you feel like you're about to say something stupid, don't. Step back and think. Is this something your non-adrenaline filled ass would want to say to someone? Is this something you want to risk saying and risk of losing someone who deeply matters to you? Is there a better way of saying it? Is there a lighter way of saying it? Is there a better way of saying, fuck you, you're an asshole who doesn't care about me? Yes, there is. There always is. You cannot, if you said no, there's not a better way, you're fucking lying. And you need time to think. Because there's always a better way. There's always a better way of saying some stuff. Well, I mean, if you're gonna say that you're an abusive manipulator whom doesn't let me have a life, there is a better way of saying it without risking you, getting a lot of bruises. Obviously there's, you say it like that if you're in a safe environment where you could, not get, reprimanded for that, but like, otherwise, think before you say shit. Think before you say shit. Think before you say shit. Yeah. Anyways, as always, my raindrops. I went on a whole rant. Yeah, as always, I always go on rants. Make sure to eat, sleep, drink water, take your meds. Have a wonderful day or night. Link to my Discord server and socials are down in the description. Subscribe to see more of my content, and thank you so much for watching.